Yeah, let me show you my channel page real quick. Okay, new channel. As you can see, I've changed my name, right? And this is before I uploaded the other videos, as you can tell as well. Um, Neverland Nostalgia. So I changed my name to Neverland Nostalgia because the I've always felt like this, but this feeling has gotten stronger the past few months, and last night it hit a all-time high where I would just feel super nostalgic. Let me see what's on TV. Well, let me see the avatars. The avatar's on TV right now. Excuse me. But I just wanted to put the show on as I talk. I'm just in my mic. So yeah, so I would change my name to Neverland Nostalgia because two big things. I just I'm my nostalgia bug was going crazy. I was even on Spotify. I played on my speaker with Spotify, Nostalgia 2000s, right? And I was playing Neverland, relaxing Neverland, sleepy ambiance on my TV because Neverland and nostalgia are the biggest things for me. Because in Neverland, that's me. By all intents and purposes, I am Neverland, right? This is my magical journey. So the magical child, right? Um, so my I, I'm getting distracted by Avatar. And this Pokemon ad. So Neverland is my magic. That's where I draw my source of magic, right? Fantasia and Neverland, right? I'm talking about me, right? For me, my source of everything is Neverland. Neverland a little more than Fantasia. I just because last night I just kept saying, and now y'all, I was doing this before I went. As soon as I was going to bed, right? And you know when you doze off, you're like in that dreamy state and stuff like that. So I was like, I'll never grow up again because I want to talk about never growing up because never growing up and nostalgia, but and what Peter Pan was actually really trying to teach us the truth of the archetype. Because I want to watch this movie again tonight. Peter Pan, the 2003 one. Let me show you which one I'm talking about. This one. I'm gonna watch this version of it tonight. I actually really like this version. I'm skeptical when it comes to live action. Some things, not everything live action, just some things live action. And I'm like, can y'all really make Peter Pan magical live action? And they did. To me, I like this one. And then when they showed, I haven't seen really, aside from like the original cartoon one, I haven't really seen any other ones. I have to pee. But yeah, give me 1 second. Oh god. Okay, we're back. I got distracted watching the episode of Avatar. So, last night I was just like as I was dozing off, I was just shouting in my mind. And I can and when I do it cuz okay, so during meditation, I do this thing where I chant. That's one of the new things that I start doing now, which helps me ground myself and focus and get into a meditative state. So I would chant, and when I chant, my body starts to vibrate, and I start to feel energy like coming to my body or whatever, right? And then sometimes I yawn, like I did right now. Sometimes I yawn, and a lot more time. Well, often I yawn when I do it, and I was doing that when I was laying down. Essentially, when I kept saying, um, I want to go. I was okay, and when I chant, I channel energy. So as I was chanting when I was going to sleep, right? I was just like it was a spell. I didn't know I was doing that really. It was kind of like an instinctive thing. Like I just kept wanting to feel. I don't know what I was doing, but I just kept chanting. I want to go to Neverland. Neverland is real. I am. I was like, I want to go to Neverland. Neverland is real. Um, I believe in fairies because in the movie, if you go to a fairy and say you don't believe in fairies, they die. So of course I have fairy spirit guides. You already well fairy family, um, as you guys know on my channel where I posted um fairies, humans, angels, and demons. I tell you all about the beings that I channeled in this video and how I'm connected to them and like the effects they had on my body um after I channeled them. And of course, this is just the first time of me channeling and really posting it online. There will be more channelings and I want to do channeling like a whole episode where I channel Merlin or Morgana Le Fay or Cersei or Medusa, etc. Right? Where I do a whole video where I channel them and I talk and they talk through me. So of course, this is me this is my beginning stage 3 months ago, right? I'm just a beginner. I'm still a beginner at this stuff. But yeah. So I we're about to watch this little video in a second. But sorry. Go follow my gaming channel, Solar Gaming. Really amazing. That's my logo down there for my gaming channel, The Collector. Go ahead and like this video. So yeah, I was like, I believe in fairies. I believe in Peter Pan. I believe in Neverland. And oh my god, this goes into the dream that I told y'all about when I created Imaginary Beast. This being was telling me that remember the time you created a level 100 boss, but you got upset and turned over in your bed because it didn't come true. It was something like that, right? I don't remember every little words they said, but there was another one where they said, remember when you created a raptor beast, and it only comes to children with imaginations, and you're really sad that it didn't come. It was something like that, but in my dreams, this being was showing me. It was showing me that even though I guess it didn't come, they still heard me or they still existed. It was something like that, y'all. It was weird. But as the days go on, I'm slowly starting to piece together what they mean. And just like last night, I was like, I believe in Neverland. If you go over the ice wall, people say that Neverland's over there. I don't know. I'm just saying. I've heard people say who've astral projected over the ice wall. They say Neverland is real over there. And did I make a video talking about? No, I don't think I did. Like everything's imaginary. Oh my god. Should I put that in this video? Um, that's funny. Um, I don't know because I don't want to get convoluted. Um, but yeah. So essentially, Neverland. I don't know, but regardless, it's real because I say it's real, and that's all that matters. And I kept chanting and I was shouting it in my mind, and I kind of even said it out loud sometimes. Where I was like, "I believe in fairies. I believe in Peter Pan. Peter Pan is my protector. Peter Pan is my guardian. Peter Pan is my family. Peter Pan and I are one. I believe in fairies. I believe in Neverland. I believe in. I also said I believe in Wonderland too. Um, and I believe. Well, I do have a Cheshire form on the higher realms. One of my forms I have on the higher realms is a Cheshire form, so that's interesting. Um, yeah, I was like, I believe in all that. Like that's my home, it's my family. And the days before that, I was daydreaming about Neverland actually, and me and Peter, not the Peter you see here, that you normally see here, not this Peter or this cartoon version of Peter, but I was just imagining a version of Peter. They had white hair and their outfit was like a off-white cream almost kind of like color, but it also had like the white in it, but like kind of like an off-white. I guess you could say kind of like the colors of Appa mixed with some cream colors in there. But of course we were barefoot. But it was other beings like the fairy queens on this planet were all androgynous queens, and they ruled Neverland, and it was three of them, three queens that ruled together. They were obviously in a relationship with each other, but they were androgynous, right? Queens. So and me and Peter was doing, different stuff on there. But and of course, because the dark side of Neverland, right? When you think about Peter's shadow, I gotta get into the nuance. But on this Neverland, of course, you had the darkness, like you had demons and monsters here, right? That's what I brung. Just dark beings, right? Dark fairies. I was dark fairy actually. So yeah. Um, but as I was chanting that, I saw. No, I'm gonna make that imaginary. Everything's imaginary video next, and it's about, yeah. So I won't get mixed up. So I saw, as I was chanting, as my eyes closed, as I was playing that nostalgia music, the 2000s nostalgia music on my Spotify, and as I was playing on my TV, um, Peter Pan Neverland relaxing ambiance, whatever. I was chanting that, and I was really feeling my body vibrate, and I felt energy. I was channeling, and then I started yawning. And I don't yawn when I sleep or whatever. Let's play this video. Makuya berries. Yeah, these are Makuya berries. Um, watching Avatar Last Airbender. Sorry. I was like, yeah, like, um, I believe in all that. Like, and then I was chanting, I am Neverland. I am Peter Pan. I am Magic. I am Wonderland, etc. Right? I was just chanting it, and then I saw an image in my imagination, and it was now the Peter Pan that I saw in my imagination. They had the stereotypical Peter Pan cartoon animated version outfit, but they didn't. Oh yeah, they had that, but they had a mask over their face, so I don't know what their face actually looked like. So I think that's so funny because I guess I gotta talk about it here. Um, everything. Uh, no, I guess I'll talk about it here. Everything is imaginary, y'all. And also, side note, I had this dream as I was dozing off to bed. Um, well, I can't remember the dream that I had dozing off, but I woke up. It took me a minute to go back to sleep, but after some hours, I went back to sleep, and then I was having this weird dream where, like, bitch, I can't remember the exact order, but just know I saw, like, in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? How, oh my God, so you're so chaotic. I know. Hold on, let me just. My God. Okay, so this thing appeared in my dreams, right, from Yu-Gi-Oh. It was not exactly. Um, it didn't have these little. It didn't have the little eye design at the bottom, but what it had was wings on the side. It had feathers. It looked just like this pyramid, but it had feathers on its side, like it had wings, and that appeared all around me out of nowhere. And I was holding this like brochure, and it had that on it too, but it had like this thing sticking out of it too, like this 3D thing sticking out. Now I remember saying, "Oh, this looks like a horn," and I remember I was remote viewing inside this dream, and I was seeing these people. It was like this big complex. I don't know what it was. It kind of reminded me of Sam's Club, kind of how it was set up. And these people were sitting so far from the building because the building has like a fence, a little metal fence all around the building. And I guess you can sit outside. So I guess these people were sitting outside and around this white table. And I was looking at them, but I was trying to just be like, how consciousness would just look at things. I was trying to be like that. So, as I was like just looking at them, they noticed me and they started like laughing. And it's like they did this weird AI laugh where, like, how AI can just like warp, not warp. You know how AI animated characters um on TikTok move, whatever. I don't know. I can't explain it, but they did this weird little thing where they all fell on the table and then got back up, and then they were just laughing. And I think this one guy in this blue collar shirt, he was like, lucky mouth, I can see you and stuff like that. But I was just looking, um, because I wasn't trying to spy on anybody. I was just observing, and I don't know what realm this was, or like who these people were, or like who these beings were disguised as. But I remember going out from more of a top view, and then I was observing people going in there, and I was just looking, trying to be the observer because I was laughing a little bit. I was like, "What the heck?" While still trying to be like neutral, I guess. But I think that when you're consciousness, you can still have like feelings. I don't know. That's just a little discovery, I think. But then I switched to like this room, this dimly lit room, and these little kids were sitting at the table, all about the same height, some a little shorter. They all had the same exact curly hair. Imagine quintuplets looking the exact same, the same curly hair, the same skin tone and stuff like that. But you can tell they're all a little different. That's what it looked like. They were all sitting at this little wooden table with cloth on it, and this person, I guess, was their caretaker or maybe their parent, was cooking. And I remember looking at them, just eating and stuff. And then I think two of them saw me or whatever. And I don't know if one was telling me to come sit down, whatever. But then it switched to this room. I don't know if I was on the etheric plane or the astral plane, but it switched to this room where me and this other kid was playing, and it was this big old slide. And it's like, I don't, I guess one side was orange and one was blue, and it's like they had these slots you can get into. It was like a water slide, and I guess they were racing or whatever. Because the first time they collided, like one of the kids was under the other kid, like legs. Because I guess one of the kids got in front of them, and the other kid just was under between their legs. So they restarted, and I'm trying to remember what else happened. Those were the main things that I can remember. But then it switched to my bedroom, right? So, of course, as I told y'all, that if you channel a lot and work on your channeling, that helps build your etheric body. So, doing that, you don't have to channel beings because I didn't channel beings every time. Sometimes I would just channel energy, my own energy for my body. So I would imagine my body creating its own mana. So I was You know how people sit in meditation and they build their energy. It was kind of like that. That's what I would do too sometimes, or I would channel Aether or channel my cosmic family or whatever. It doesn't matter what you do consistently. So I was doing that to help build my etheric body, and it did. And also meditating helps build your etheric body too. It seems like because when because that moment where like you get into meditation, you start dozing off. Yeah, I improved a lot on that. I don't doze off as much or as easy or as quick. And chanting also helps with that too because sometimes when I chant, I start dozing off. Even if the first 10 minutes of me chanting before I even actually meditate, I'm like, what the fuck? That's how no meditation is. Like, chanting is actually a very powerful thing. And for me, when I chant before I meditate, it helps calm me down, relax my ADHD, and helps me just allow thoughts to flow through me, and I can observe them without being attached to them. And then it helps me get to a more of a meditative state when I start meditating. But then was in my room, right? And I remember, so the entire time I was in the etheric plane, I think, because I was like, I kept, because that's, yeah, I was, because I would wake up. I'm thinking I'm waking up, y'all, but I'm waking back up in the etheric plane. So each time those scenes transition, in between those scenes transitioning, I would wake up in my bedroom thinking I'm awake, but then I would go right back. It would happen so fast though, so it seemed like I was just in one big dream. And I say that because as I appear back in my room, I will go to sleep and wake back up in my room thinking I'm in my room again. And I remember there was times where I would just look in the corner of the wall and I would kind of, I don't know what I was trying to look for, but I was looking for like, I guess maybe there was somebody in the, like a spirit or some being in my dream. I don't know. It didn't look weird, but I don't know. I just feel like something was there. And then I remember like going back to sleep and waking up again, and I was like, "Oh, we're in the etheric." And I remember saying this, "Oh, we're in the etheric plane." And I had my axolotl, my pink axolotl, in my hand because I sleep with stuffed animals, whatever. I gotta clean this one because I don't know what the fuck is on this one. But I sleep with stuffed animals, and I was chanting, not chanting. I as I was sleeping with my axolotl in my hand in my dream, I was telling my axolotl, "Oh, we're in the etheric plane, so trying too hard makes it hard." I was talking about um, forcing yourself to like be lucid in the etheric plane, and I was also talking about forcing yourself to like move in the etheric plane. And I'm not gonna call it sleep paralysis anymore. Sleep paralysis, what I've learned is that sleep paralysis only happens when your etheric body isn't strong. See, this is something I had to learn because I knew we had the etheric body, but I didn't know how important it was until like a few months ago. So that's when I started building my etheric body, and for strength, and also going back to what I told y'all about using Master Hand. Because I was watching this guy's video, and he was saying if you want to build your etheric body, and you can't move, chant the names of God or whatever. And for me, that didn't work. So what I did was I chanted. I call upon Master Hand from Super Smash Bros. To help levitate me to get me up, and then but I was still not able to like move. So I chanted the name Phoenix from Marvel Comics. Jean Grey Phoenix, the Phoenix Force. I chanted Phoenix how she did, and I was able to move in the etheric plane. And so this goes back into everything is imaginary. It's not gonna be a long ass video, at least an hour. I don't know what I'm gonna title it. Peter Pan nostalgia. Everything is imaginary. Maybe that's what I'll do. Something like that. Because I was gonna make a separate video about imaginary, but we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I think I still am, but 'cause I'm trying to keep this grounded as possible. It's so hard sometimes to me. Um, so as I so go back to my dream that I said, where I was like, oh, I'm in the etheric plane, so trying too hard makes it harder. So I stopped. I wasn't. So I made sure not to try too hard. And then I was like, oh, because I'm talking to my axolotl. I was like, oh, let's see if we can get up. So y'all, I started. Oh yeah, I said I wasn't calling it sleep paralysis. I was calling it etheric paralysis or etheric stiffness, where your body starts to become stiff in the dreamlike state, and then when you doze off, you can't really move. Some people see blackness, but I don't see blackness. I didn't see blackness. I saw. I mean, even before I started building my etheric body, it was I don't ever remember seeing blackness. I do remember not being able to open my eyes when I was in the etheric plane, but I can still hear people and beings around me, and I could feel I was in my bed. So I never saw blackness, but I would see my room, um, or feel my room. Um, but yeah, this time, but it was different though because my room was I was able to. I was like, let's see if we can move, and I was starting to get up, and I equated it to YouTube and the playback speed. Because in dreams, in my etheric plane, before I started building my body, I couldn't really move at all. But now I move. As I was working through it, I would say I'm at a point 0.5, 0.5 in playback speed when it came to how fast I was moving in the etheric plane. I was still moving slow, but I was moving at a relatively fast pace. I was getting up out of my bed. I was trying to rise up, but I had my bonnet on, but I kept seeing this little black leaf over my head. I wasn't paying no attention at first as I was rising up, but then I knew like, no, this is weird. What is that? Then I look up, And then I'm like, and then it was like from that leaf, um, a stink bug was starting to come down from it like a spider. I was like, but I knew I couldn't swipe it away, so I just, as I was almost fully up, sitting up in my bed, I just said, "Freak it," and I shook my head and I woke up because I don't do stink bugs. Like, I hate stink bugs. Y'all know how annoying those hard ass bugs sound, especially when they fly. It's like, ugh, get away from me. And we live in a wooded area, so like when it gets cold, they be coming in. Ugh. Sorry, personal shit. But yeah. So I started moving my etheric body, y'all, in the etheric plane, which means I'm getting stronger. But I knew I was getting stronger before then because I had a dream. This is all gonna go back into one thing, I swear. Um, Kind of just rambling, but I also had a dream where I was I had an etheric stiffness, and this being, you know how some beings they try to use your memories or whatever, or what they feel in your energy field, like how what might cause you fear, or what might turn you on, anything that'll put you in a state of cluelessness, right? In my case, it was this person was trying to find my sexual turn-ons or whatever. I really don't know why, but this spirit was. Um, and that's another thing too. I think we create our own etheric demons, our sleep paralysis demons. Um, I'm not saying they the spirit itself isn't out there, but I think we create our own based on our own experiences. But because this one was trying to find, like, I guess my sexual turn-ons, because it would be like these girls, I guess these baddies. I call them baddies because they were baddies, but they were in a room with a DJ, and I was just on the floor, and they were walking over me. So I guess it wanted me to see under their jerseys, under their clothes, and there were some other ones where it had people saying like, maybe you should take my shirt off. I'm like, I didn't, obviously. I didn't think nothing about it though in the dream, but it was weird shit happening like that, and then at the end of the dream, I remember being back in my room, but my door was not the color it was, and it was thick. Like, I have a wooden door, but think of like a laptop, right? The door width, like the width, not the like height, but the width was like the width of a laptop if you closed it down and held it up in this flat way, right? I was like, that width is way too thick. It's way too thick, and the door was a big chunky. It was like a big chunky wooden hunk of wood. I was like, I remember I was looking at it. I was like, it took me like 3 seconds. And I was looking at it. I was like, oh, this is a dream. Then I laid back down and woke up. So that was funny. But when I woke up, the uh, the being that was on my body or whatever, the etheric stiffness, the etheric spirit, it didn't feel as dense anymore. Because usually when I was working, because there was also all the stuff that I did, like that I was being tested on when it came to like the archons, and there was, this is before all this, like those last 3 months ago when I tell you I was channeling all this stuff, right? So I was also being tested with the archons in the sense, like, um when I was building my etheric body, what the archons did was they would, when I tell you, this must have been powerful archons though, because it didn't feel like sleep paralysis. I remember in the etheric plane, and then they would in my room, and then they would. It was like all this. They would put all this pressure on me, and it literally felt like the universe was putting pressure on me. So the past few times in those dreams, those few months ago, those 3 months ago, as I was working through my etheric body, those dreams would happen sometimes, and it would be me working through it, and I would obviously get through it or whatever. So that also helped too. That's why this time it felt like there was nothing on me. And remember when I told y'all that sometimes every time that I used to get those little sleep demons, those etheric demon spirits, that I would have to start wiggling my toes first for a little bit, and then move up my legs, and then I could move my body. This time, when I woke from that dream, this etheric spirit that was on my body or whatever, being dense, like I said, it didn't feel dense at all. And then I remember it was, I can feel like it was something on me, but it wasn't dense. And I remember just getting up casually. I was like, get off of me. And just got up casually. I shook my body. I shook my body like, get off me. You know what I mean? Just casually though. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't hateful. It was just casually. So yeah. Um. So fast forward to now. Uh. What was I saying? The dogs was distracting me. They started barking. Um. Yeah. So, anyways, I kind of forgot what I was going with that, but yeah. So I woke up from that dream from that stink bug. It was crazy, but I also could feel my etheric body too, getting stronger. But also, yeah, what I'm saying is, sorry y'all, let me ground myself. Neverland and nostalgia. So I was really feeling that last night, right? And I've noticed that week, the past few days, that every night that feeling would just grow more and more intense. During the day, I would think about the nostalgia, I would think about Neverland, but it wasn't intense. It wouldn't be intense until it gets till nighttime. So is that a new Lego Ninjago series? Oh, yeah, I've been watching Lego Ninjago too. Keep, I started from the beginning. Well, season two. Um, because I used to love this show so much, and I still do. So I'm starting back over again because I know I missed a lot. But and apparently they have Ninjago in Fortnite now. So yeah. But I'm getting distracted. I hate when this happens, y'all. So yeah, that's it. That's all I want to tell y'all. No, I'm playing. So nostalgia for me. So this is what I was learning, going back to that dream about the imaginary beast, is that everything is imaginary. And what Peter Pan also, excuse me, Peter Pan also has to tell you, um, everything's imaginary. What my dreams was telling me, not the one last night, but the one before, where this person who took the form of Alice Quinn was telling me, remember the time you tried to summon a level 100 monster? And remember the time you tried to summon the Rapture Beast? Yeah, that dream I just talked about? Yeah. What I'm starting to realize over this course of days is like everything. Well, and I know this though, because everything is imagination, right? That's what everything is. But it's like I'm starting to really ground that in my body now, right? And not just intellectualize that. And it's like everything is made up, y'all, from the top to the bottom. It is for all for all intents and purposes. It's just made up, and everything you believe in is made up. How you view the world is made up. It's not bad or good. It's not right or wrong. It's just made up. Everything is made up, and it's literally created from the imagination of a child. From it's literally everything is created from a child with an overactive imagination who had a dream and a wish, um, to feel something, to experience something, right? So if that's the case, and if we are reflections of that child, at the same time we are a child and our own child, then that means we are imaginary children, right? So everything is made up. And just like how Wiccan from Agatha All Along made up the Witch's Road. Y'all should go watch Agatha All Along. Um, it's such a good show on Disney Plus. Just like how he made up the Witch's Road, right? Because the Witch's Road didn't exist until him. But just because he made it up doesn't mean it's not real now. It's real. The road he created is real now. The live action, Agatha All Along, Wiccan created the Witch's Road, right? And There's this scene in Harry Potter, um, the Deathly Hollows Part Two, I think it's called, where um Dumbledore is in uh Harry's head, and Harry's like, "Professor, are you real, or is this just all in my head?" And he said, "Of course it's all in your head, Harry. But why should that mean it's any less real?" It was something like that. And I'm taking that with me to the grave because literally, yes, we make up everything in our heads all the time. We make up things, period, all the time. If we both look at TV, right? Let's say Avatar: The Last Airbender. We both can watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and make up and conclude our own stories from it. We could be watching the same thing, but experience two different realities. Does it make it any less true? Does it make it any less real? Both our dreams exist. So, does that mean my does that mean my dream nullifies yours? Or yours nullify mine? No. Everything exists because you exist. And if you are the everything, if you are reflections, aspects, emanations of the void, source, Sakate, whatever, pure imagination, true imagination, if you are them and they are you, and they are made up and you are made up, and everything within them is made up, meaning this dream from the top to the bottom, your customizable avatar, your personas, your personalities, your desires, what you like, what you like to do, what you see, your perspectives, what you experience, all made up. Everything's a story, everything is a narrative, right? Everything is a myth. Hold on. Everything's made up. So it's like, does it make it any less real? Are you real? I say that no, but there's no such thing as anything because nothing's real. You're not real. No, you're not. Everybody is an imaginary friend, an imaginary being. Therefore, we are whatever the fuck we say we are. We experience what the fuck we say we experience, right? Isn't that crazy? So what makes it? What makes it? What makes something more real or less real? You can't tell anybody what's real and what's not real, and they can't really tell you that either. We can sit up here and say toilet paper is real, but is it? If everything is made up of dream light, if everything is energy, can it just dissolve into nothing? If the toilet paper is quote unquote atoms, it's just a clump of atoms condensed together, a group of intelligent atoms condensed together to form toilet paper. And at any moment, if they decide to disperse, would toilet paper still exist? If, if everything is fluid, was it even real to begin with? Who's to say? I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer here. There is no right or wrong answer. It's literally a trick question, a trickster question. Who's to say? Somebody can believe you could on the outside looking in, you can see somebody in an abusive relationship, right? But to them inside the relationship, this is healthy. This is how we love each other. This is absolutely nothing wrong here. Or one person might not even see they're being abused. Does it make any of but it doesn't make anybody's experience in that scenario any more or less real? I could come up to you and tell you hi and then walk away. And you could go to your friend and tell your friend that this horrible person came up to me and said hi with an attitude and walked away. Mind you, I could have came up to you with a neutral face, maybe a slight smile, and bowed my head and walked away. But to you, that could have been offensive. To your culture? saying hi probably could be offensive. Does that make your emotions and your experience any less real? And does it make my emotions or experience any less real? This goes back into my video when I talked about it's just as convoluted up there as it is down here. The void is dreamy, just it's physical, just as it is dreamy. Everything's convoluted, y'all. It doesn't matter. Everything feeds on itself. It goes up, it goes down, it goes in, it goes out, it goes everywhere. It's all consuming. It's nowhere at all. It's all placed at the same time. Everything is made up. Direction is made up. Does it make it any less real? Your left and my left are two different lefts. Does it make it any less of a left? Huh? Does it? Just because one culture uses north, east, south, and west in a different in one way, and one culture uses it a different way, does it make any of those correspondences wrong or right? No, because it just go no yes because it just goes based off your belief. It's the strongest thing. That's what I was going with when I talked about that dream where I was in the etheric plane and I couldn't move my body and I summoned Master Hand and I called upon the Phoenix to help release me so I could start walking. I used my imagination. I made it up. Master Hand is from Smash Bros. A game which, if you look at the history of Smash Bros, it's about a kid with an imagination, making up playing with their toys, and having to go through life pretending to not like toys and to be an adult. And this goes back into Peter Pan. I might blow my nose, but hold on. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Ain't nobody gonna pause the video. Get over it. I guess I could cut off my mic. I just didn't. I pulled the mic up though, so y'all would hear it as much if y'all didn't hear it go. I'm somewhat considerate. Hell, I ain't the worst person ever. That's far worse than me. But um, uh, ah, is that Daniela Bergoli? Am I thinking about somebody else? No, that's the Cash Me Outside girl. Never mind. I remember that girl. Period. Period. Disgusting. But goes back into what I was about to say. What was I about to say? Everything's made up. Oh yeah. From the imagination of a child. Okay. Peter Pan. They are telling me what people typically say, right? Is that Peter Pan has the never growing up syndrome, whatever they call it, right? What is it, never growing up syndrome? People talk about the magical child archetype. I have not seen many videos. You go on YouTube right now. I have most videos that talk about the magical child talks about the magical child in a negative way, right? There are so few videos where it talks about magical child in its positive aspect and its negative aspect of it. But when I was chanting in my dreams before I was going to bed, remember when I told y'all I was chanting, I was just shouting out loud in my mind, I'm never gonna grow up. I'll never grow up again. I promise I'll never forget the 2000s. I am the 2000s. I am the nostalgia. I am Neverland. I am Peter Pan. I'll never grow up again. I'm a kid. Oh, that's another thing. I feel like a 12-year-old toddler in a teen's body. That is literally how I always felt my entire life. A 12-year-old toddler in a teen's body. So I was essentially, I guess I was chanting, I was reconfirming my connection to my magical child, right? And I've already had dreams before confirming my connection and how protective we are over each other. But last night felt like more of a declaration, I guess. I don't know, a promise. And that's what I was saying. I was like, I promise I'll never grow up. No, I started crying with my eyes closed. I started crying as I was chanting this. And Never growing up is the best thing you can ever do, y'all. What is growing up in this society? Where has growing up in this society got us? Cancer, disease, depression, despair, insecurity, on the streets, sleeping in somebody else's home, not having shit for yourself, not having your own privacy, regrets, misery, bankruptcy, brokenness, brokenness spirit, brokenness mentality, survival mentality, fear mentality, hatred, self-hatred, well I say self-loathing, hatred of all other people because we hate ourselves, ignorance, neglect of ourselves and people we supposed to care about, if we do have people to care about, that is, bitterness, resentment, bills, on top of more bills, on top of more bills, on top of more bills, right? What else did I miss? I don't know if I'm pretty sure I missed some things, but you get the point. Horrible. Never growing up means never forgetting what and who you authentically are at your essence. Right? At our essence, we are all magical children. And in the magical community, what is number one thing we tell our students? Our students. I started saying that because I thought of the school. What do we tell our students? What do we tell the people who are getting into magic? You have to have a connection to your magical child because that has all the power. Peter Pan isn't the child that doesn't want to grow up because it fears growing up. That's what they call it. They call it the Peter Pan syndrome. No, Peter Pan syndrome, the Peter Pan syndrome is never growing up because you will never relinquish your magic. Oh yeah, in the grown-up world, everything becomes gray and dull and modernized and industrial. We all remember our nostalgia, 2000s nostalgia. Everything seems saturated. Sometimes overly saturated because it was. We had excitement when we heard we're going to McDonald's. When we had excitement when we heard we were going to Chuck E. Cheese. There was excitement with the TV shows that were playing, the technology, the internet. It was excitement just being outside. Everything was excitement. Now everything's miserable. The Peter Pan syndrome isn't somebody refusing to grow up because they want to be a man child. No, that's weird. You can't be a man and a child. It's impossible. Hello, because we're all children. No such thing as a man. No such thing as a. You could be a real boy, but there's no such thing as an adult. Adults are made up. I'll make a poem about that. It's made up just so people can use. Adults are just a product of the system making up shit so it can have free labor. That's all adults are. Just cows slaving themselves away for the 1%. That's all adulthood is, anyway. Your dreams and aspirations are killed. Your creativity is killed, or at least siphoned, or both, as an adult, right? Who wants to be that? So when I was saying I'll never grow up, I'll always be a kid. Um, I can feel my body start to change, but also Peter Pan syndrome. The story of Peter Pan, he is telling you, don't ever grow up, don't ever lose your magic, don't ever stop being magical, because once you do, you start aging, and aging is a sin. You want to know why? Because humans aren't supposed to age. We're supposed to evolve, yes. Humans, if everything is energy, energy cannot age. We aren't supposed to age because humans are a different technology, right? Just like the gods before us, just like the extraterrestrials, our ancestors before us, they don't age. They didn't forget their magic. We forgot our magic. It's not saying, oh, I don't want to be wise. It's, oh, I don't want to be diluted. I don't want to be dulled down. I don't want to be a person who has regret or bitterness, whose imagination And just like the never ending story told y'all, the nothing means adulthood. You taken away your imagination, you have nothing left. That's what Peter Pan is telling us. Don't do that. Keep your magic, keep your imagination, keep you as you are. Your purest state is your child state, is it not? And if you're a magical child, your inner magic child, is the purest form of you, is the purest form of you, then why not be that? Why be this false facade, broke down, broken version of something someone else told you to be that's not even your own of your own creation or free will? Most adults are unconsciously operating in this world. Children operate consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously all at once. There's something to be said there, right? And if we're all children, right? Children of Earth, children of the cosmos, children of the dream itself, and if our magic comes from our inner child, which we have many of, which there are many of inside of us, by the way, not just one magical child, then when it makes sense to be that, to not lose that, people all the time say, man, we'll never get our childhood back. I miss 2000s. We'll never get it back. Yes, you can. Just like how I said, I am Neverland. You are the 2000s. You are the nostalgia. You are the childhood. Where did you go? The same shows still play today. At least most of them. McDonald's still exists. Burger King still exists. You can cultivate that within yourself and within your environment if you truly desire. And that's what I've been doing. These past few months, I have started doing that, y'all. I started coloring again. I wanted to, I don't have a color book, but I wanted crayons so bad. And I've noticed that I'm starting to magnetize things to me, I think. I'm not sure yet, but I think so. Because I wanted crayons last week so badly. And then like 3 days after that, this person came in with like three 24 packs of boxes of Crayola crayons. And I drew a monster. I ended up coloring and drawing a monster with the crayons. It was nice. It felt good. I felt so eased and so calm. You know what I'm saying? You didn't lose that. You just forgotten it. You can still buy that nostalgia piece of Xbox. We have stores that sell retro pieces, not only clothes but gaming stores that sell retro games. Literally, y'all, physically and online. So what's your excuse? You can still wear the clothes from the '90s or the 2000s or the '80s or the '60s. You can wear clothes from any period. Well, to be honest, so it's just up to you to remember that. And Peter teaches us that because what's the first thing that happened to Wendy when she got back to Earth? She started aging. But what was the one thing she did? Peter would visit her every year, right? Every year she would sit by the fireplace in the window with the window open, right? What does that sound like to you? If I said the magical child, right, which is represented by Peter Pan, if the magical child represents all your imagination, all of your magic, all of your power, all of your youth, all of your truest soul essence, right? If Peter Pan represents the magical child and the magical child is your purest, most truest form, right? And if Wendy sits every year by the window with the window open as she's getting older, what is that symbolizing? Her longing. She's longing. She's regretting. She's reminiscing, right? As she gets older, her magic doesn't change. Her magic doesn't get older because age doesn't apply to magic. Age doesn't apply to you. But the illusion of it does, right? Because whatever you believe, you can create. Myth School 101. Whatever you can conceive, whatever you can bring forth, you bring it to life. And if you believe in age, if you believe in those age politics, then you're going to start aging. placebo effect at the highest level. That's why I told y'all my aging has been slowing down. I've noticed my aging has ever since I started the clip off, and I was chanting the first week because I got. If you go back to my clip off series, the first two videos, I tell y'all that I start chanting that I'm youthful, I'm young. I no longer subscribe to time anymore. I don't subscribe to time. I don't subscribe to age. My perspective started to change as I was chanting in meditation. In my physical bodies, the aging of my body, I can feel it starting to slow down. It still is. And I've also done it with my facial hair too. And the window was open, right? When the windows represents the consciousness or the unconscious or the subconscious, right? I mean, houses can represent that, right? And then the windows are a seal, right? Keeping things out and keeping things in. But she has it open, meaning she still has wishes and hopes and dreams. They're just out of reach. She didn't forget it. I mean, she didn't lose it. She just forgot the crystal piece that you never had to grow up. Because the real magic is within. The real magic is the child. Peter Pan knew that. That's the untold story about Peter Pan. Peter Pan knew that. And let's talk about the shadow aspect of Peter Pan, right? The shadow that follows Peter Pan isn't evil nor a negative aspect. It's the part of Peter's truest, rawest self as well. It's a reflection of pure magic. True magic is one with its shadows. It doesn't hide from the shadows. It doesn't hide its shadows. It doesn't negate its light. It becomes both the shadow and the light. Because all things come from darkness, including magic, right? Everything is connected. The darkness and the light are the same thing, experiencing itself. You can express differently, however, but experiencing itself. So you can't have one. You can't cut off half your body and say you're whole and complete. You see what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense, now would it? You can't have half a heart and say you're whole and say you're heartfelt. You can't have half a mind and say you're intelligent. You can't have half a gut and say you feel good, etc. You get it. The shadow that was following Peter isn't this malevolent force necessarily. And yes, there are the Grimm brothers. I think that's what their names are. There are people who made dark iterations of it, but just like imagination, just like magic, everything exists. There are all expressions all the time, everywhere. However, doesn't mean it's the absolute truth either. And I'm choosing to look at it as because I also got that vision of Peter Pan with this mask. It was I was in Neverland when I got that vision. I saw a vision of Neverland and Peter Pan, but he had a mask on. But he was looking at Neverland. He wasn't looking at me, and I was looking at Neverland and Peter from the. I was looking at Peter. I was behind Peter, right? So I could see Peter's like backside, and their head was tilted towards Neverland. They was like their back slash their side of their body was facing me, and their head and neck was facing Neverland. And what I'm choosing to believe is that Neverland is your imagination. Peter is your magical child. And never growing up is never forgetting what you originally were. From the beginning, right? As humans, we forget who and what we are and what we're capable of. And we have to go on this long journey to remember and to figure out. Just like Zelda from The Legend of Zelda, she's a goddess, but she incarnated as a princess, and every time, after every 100 years, she has to remember who she is and what she is. That's literally what happens in other lives, right? Or what some people call past lives, which there is no such thing as past lives. because everything there is no beginning or end. There's only a point, right? And we know this because you can experience any timeline in your head, in your mind, which is time. Like, so I gotta make a video on mind, how mind is the time. But yes, when I watch Power Rangers to this day, even though it's not on Jetix anymore and it's on YouTube, I still feel nostalgic when I watch any shows that I watch in the early 2000s. I still feel the same feeling. Hell, even more sometimes. Because it's like, yes, I have this. And you want to know why? It's because I didn't take it for granted. Well, it's because I took it for granted when I used to watch it when it was out. Now that I watch it, I make sure not to take it for granted. And that's also what Peter shows us. Don't take it for granted. Look what happens when you get older. Look what happened to Wendy when she got older. She couldn't stop waiting to see Peter Pan. She couldn't stop waiting to see. And I'm glad Peter decided to stay and didn't get older because no, that would have defeated the purpose. Let's grow up forever and be miserable and die. I'm not finna pay no bills if I ain't got to. This motherfucker can fly through time, fly through space. And you telling me that growing up is more important? Paying bills is important? Going in debt is important? Pretending to fall in love with somebody because society tells you to? Having all that extra drama? And you can be magical as fuck? Girl, please. Peter Pan had the right idea. Because, girl, fuck you. Okay? But yeah, so that's some of the things. It's kind of like a video diary. I think I'm gonna put this in my video diary section. I'm not gonna title it video diary, I don't think, but it's probably gonna be in that section anyway. But why is mouth so big? Watching TV. Sorry. Master Iroh is saying, but not dance. All evil. Now why did you do that to him? So I'm gonna get his feet. But anyways, it's a good little show. But I can watch SpongeBob and I still feel nostalgic. Neverland is real because I'm real. We create our own realities, our own dreams. I mean, literally, when you go into the dream realm, what are you doing? And if the dream realm is a part of us, and if every realm is a level of the dream realm, then that means everything's made up. The physical dream realm, the etheric dream realm, the astral dream realm, the mental dream realm, the causal dream realm, and so on and so forth. That's another thing too. I'm not gonna call them planes. I'm gonna call them dream realms, or well, I'm gonna call them still planes, but like I'm gonna call them dream planes or dream realms because everything's a dream from the very top to the very bottom, which is us, right? So yeah, and that's what it was saying. Who cares if it's made up? Just like how Wicked made the Witch's Road. So, and there was this episode of SpongeBob that I watched where he had an imaginary friend because he drunk some I don't know what the fuck he drunk something. I think it was like expired or whatever. But then he saw this imaginary. I think it was a bunny. It was a huggy bunny, but it was like corrupted. It was like evil, bro. But he had Sponge, and he had the whole town drinking it, and they was going crazy. But nobody could see it. But SpongeBob at first. SpongeBob can feel it. It was picking SpongeBob up. It was real to SpongeBob. So what if people couldn't see it? What are they gonna do for me anyway? They could or couldn't see it. What would they do? Nothing. It doesn't matter if somebody can see or believe what you believe. And are they causing you is them believe not believing in you causing you to die and to implode? Is it causing the world to stop spinning? The world's still gonna spin whether you believe in it spinning or not. Metaphorically, literally, symbolically, mythically, etc. Right? Your truth is your truth. Nobody can tell you otherwise. You know what I mean? But yeah, doesn't matter if you believe in magic or not. It has nothing it's not about you. It's not a well. It doesn't matter if somebody else believes in magic and you don't. or somebody doesn't believe in magic and you do, it's not about them. Oh well, people make things too personal. Believe what you want to believe. Be happy. Love yourself. Believe in magic. Believe in Neverland. I do. And I'm not gonna stop. Oh, also, and yes, I believe. And I had that dream about the imaginary beast a day before I started. No, a day after. A day, but a day. Yeah, a day after I started. Because a day before that dream, I was thinking about Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny, and I was like, because y'all, I never stopped. I never stopped believing in them. I think I said. I think I said this in another video. I never stopped believing in them. They're real to me, and I said one day they're gonna be even more real. So, and I was saying that as I was dozing off the day before I had this dream about my imaginary beast that I used to summon. I was like, no, no, I don't care. If they're real in the land of imagination, they're real, and that's just about a mind. We just haven't seen them yet, but they're real. And oh well, you can't shame me for that. What you gonna do? Beat me up? You see what I'm saying? Nobody can stop you from believing in what you want to believe in. They can tell you their feelings all they want. So somebody can tell me my outfit looks ugly. I'm still wear it. Cause who was that bitch? I'm not wearing this for them. I'm wearing this for me. But yeah, that's what Neverland was teaching me. That's what I'm starting to understand with imagination and Neverland in general and Peter is to the Peter Pan syndrome is not bad. Peter Pan syndrome is actually good and it's something you really want. Because otherwise you're gonna be just like Wendy, getting old, wishing and wanting and longing for Peter Pan. Which Peter Pan represents your magical child. Wendy forgot her magical child. She forgot that she wanted to be a pirate, girl. She forgot to live the pirate life. She really could have been a pirate though. But she forgot to live her dreams, her magic. You know what I'm saying? But Peter didn't. And his shadow just reflects that even more within him. Peter Pan is mischievous, wild, and a magical child. His shadow in the show can dislocate from Peter Pan's physical being and be just as mischievous and wild and magical and free. Hell, Peter Pan even sends off his shadow to go looking in the windows first to make sure it's safe. The shadow is a part of him, and it's just as magical as he is. You know what I'm saying? And even Tinkerbell, right? Believing in fairies. Which obviously fairies are real, but you know what I'm saying? It's declaring that it is real, declaring that you believe in magic. Just like in the North Pole, the parents couldn't hear the bell at the end because they didn't believe in magic. But the kids could because they believe in magic. Both realities are real. Both dreams, the parents and the kids, are real equally. It literally is a placebo effect at its highest and truest level. What do you want to believe in? What you believe in creates your reality, creates your dream. We know this, right? Belief is the strongest form of magic because it takes intuition, it takes instinct, it takes wish magic, and it takes not belief, it takes imagination, and it formulates it all together to create something real for the person believing. That's how we all got here, y'all. And I still gotta make a video about the principles of magic, right? And how magic works at its core. But eventually I gotta make a video on how to do magic too. But yeah, I just wanna say that. I hope y'all enjoyed this. This is a long fucking video. Okay? It's an hour. Oh, why do I talk so fucking much? Um, yeah, so I hope y'all get that. I hope y'all understand that. So that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling very nostalgic. And nostalgia is literally the death of me and the life of me. Because I just can't leave. I'll never forget the square pizza. I'll never forget the shows. I'll never forget the clothing. And I'm starting to slowly go back to that. Like, of course, I don't have the clothing, but like the food wise, like they still sell Smiley fries. They still sell it. They sell the square pizza. It's on this certain website, but I don't have the money to get it. But lately I have been getting what's been hidden. My nostalgia bug is the Tostino square party pizza. Those are just as good. And if you cook it just right and you lift the crust up and you get that tan crust and you smell the crust, oh, that reminds me of the pizza that I used to eat as well. So like that was another nostalgia bug for me. So yeah, sometimes I still get kid cuisines and they're good to me. So yeah, I'm just saying. Oh, and I'm gonna play a video game on this channel. And on my other channel too is gonna be a Total Jerk Face that I used to play, and also Dan Ball. If y'all remember that game, girl, and Flash games. So yeah, I hope I made sense. But yeah, that's what Neverland taught me. So Peter symbolizes. Okay, that's what imagination is. So yeah, I'm gonna go now.